Today in the crypto space, we see the market a bit hesitant. Bitcoin right around that $66,000 level, Ethereum right around that $3,500 mark, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a mix of green and red. We do have some good gainers like Tau and Flow. However, we do have some dips like Cardano, VeChain, Uniswap, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that is currently forming a bit of structure, and the risk to reward ratio is looking pretty good, and that project is called Mintlayer. So you know what, to talk about the news, let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. We do see the overall market cap kind of hesitant. It did pull back in the last little while, as you can see. Still around $2.5 trillion, which is looking good. Still nothing really bearish or anything like that. Making a higher low in comparison to this low if you're looking at this little fractal of price of market cap. However, we do see that the trading volume looks a little bit, indecisive as well, but it did make a higher high. Based on this high, you can see that we kind of broke out. We made a bit of a higher high. We went sideways a little bit, and now we're coming down just a bit, meaning that the trading volume, the market participation is not really there. Which is interesting, of course. Are we going to actually start breaking to higher levels? And if we do, the healthy way to do it is to get a lot more volume. We need a lot more trading volume. All right, guys, let's take a look at the rest of the market. Let's scrape through the top 100 to get an overall consensus of what's happening here. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart, but more importantly, I want to focus on the Mintlayer chart. And the reason why is, obviously, Mintlayer has been coming down significantly. The community is hoping on a reversal. There's a lot of people keeping an eye on Mintlayer. I'm getting a lot of buzz around Mintlayer. And ultimately, right now, from a price action perspective, it's creating a bit of structure that we can create a setup off of. If there is no structure, it's hard to create a setup. But right now, there is a setup where we can put a bit of, emphasis on risk to reward, risk management and all of that. And that way we can get into a very healthy position. And we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see what's going on here. Bitcoin, doing its thing, came down for a bit of a dip. Remember, I'm expecting a retracement on the 4-hour, and so far so good. Nothing major. I'm not expecting major dumps or anything like that, but a 4-hour retracement is starting to, be very likely, and we are getting it. Now, I also did mention a mean reversion play on the daily, which we are getting it already. We have gotten it. We've the RSIs and the moving average and the momentum oscillators and the trend oscillators, everything kind of pull back ever so slightly to get back to the average trend, which is obviously very important, because if the trend is going to be our friend across this market, we need to kind of stay in unison with the trend. And we're seeing Bitcoin still within unison with the trend. However, on the 4-hour, the pullback is good, right? We want this healthy dip so that we can accumulate, especially the altcoins. Ethereum showing a little bit more strength than expected. It's kind of going sideways, nothing major, just kind of hesitant. Now, I know that we have the ETF. It came out yesterday, which is good. We're getting a bit of trading volume. We now in traditional markets. Now we can expect a bit of, maybe even price manipulation. We got heavyweights in the game. We got the suits in the game. So, Ethereum is now, is in a different league. It's in the same league as Bitcoin, so we got to keep an eye on it. We got to keep an eye on some of the opportunities that we can be getting here in the next little while. So stay tuned, because if I see any scenarios, any setups, I'll definitely keep you guys posted. BNB looking good. Solana, lots of strength, up 1%, looking awesome. Structurally speaking, it's in a bit of a retracement, but didn't make a lower low or anything like that. We need to really stay above this horizontal bottoms in order to maintain bullish conditions. XRP looking great, nice grind to the upside. We just remember that XRP right now is more or less at the top of the range in the sense that it's more or less looking for breakouts rather than trading within structure. As soon as structure breaks, guys, we're expanding. It's very likely that we start moving to the upside and so on and so forth. But that's where you get the most resistance. So be careful if you're in XRP. Try to trail up those stop losses, take a bit of profit, type of thing, de-risk a bit because it has been a great mover in the last little while. If we keep on going down, you can see the overall market is somewhat bearish. You can see this, a lot of a dip. Toncoin, Cardano. We have even AVAX coming down a little bit. We have Sheeb, Chainlink. A lot of these projects have been coming down. And guess what? It's based on that 4-hour setup that I've been talking about for the last 2-3 days. And this is why it's important to stay one step ahead. This is why it's important to kind of like emphasize that we could be trading different time frames. Lately I've been focusing on the daily, but the 4 hour has been showing me some good stuff. So why not take it full advantage and prepare my portfolio for, maybe a bit of a dip? And this is what we've been getting. Now, I don't think that the dip is absolutely over just yet. And we'll talk about that in a second based on the Bitcoin chart, because Bitcoin right now as a leading indicator has been doing a great job giving us that edge, right? And if we keep on going down, Monero waking up a little bit, but nothing crazy. MNT going sideways like a stable coin, not bad. At least it's going sideways, neutralizing any little bit of negativity that we're getting on lower time frames. And as we go down, look at Render's dip, right? We're getting a bit of a retracement. It's made a slightly lower low. We have H-bar grinding down, Injective also grinding down a little bit. However, it's up 3% for the day. However, if you can see that it has been dipping down, and so has been Atom and so on. BitTensor looking pretty good. A nice bounce to the upside. Man of the match for today so far, 8% to the upside. No structural change, no change of character right now. We're just making a lower high as of now, right? We didn't make a higher low or a higher high. We're not doing anything spectacular. However, what we are doing is getting a bit of relief so far. Structural change will obviously get us more bullish, but at this current moment, BitTensor Tau has been retracing significantly in the last little while, so a bit of relief is not bad on higher time frames. But as long as it can withstand the 4-hour negativity that we've been seeing throughout the market, guys, we should be okay there on BitTensor Tau. You guys know I'm bullish, but it is a large cap all of a sudden. Diversify your portfolio via market cap as well, and overall narratives, guys. If you've been missing out on some of my live streams, I've been focusing on narratives. We did the gaming narrative, we did the real world asset narrative, we talked about the DPIN narrative, and these are hot narratives, right? And there's so many hot projects nowadays in those narratives. So I'll feel free to check that out. Feel free to check out those videos because I do focus on various narratives and talk about the hottest projects within those narratives. Our weave did come down, but again, like Tau, within the short term, we're getting a nice bounce, 4%, not bad right there. And as you keep on coming down, you can see the negativity. The pressure, the hang time is definitely coming down. You can see that Theta Network. We see Notcoin. We see Ondo. A lot of the good gainers slowly pressure. Jupiter, a little bit of pressure, but then a bit of relief just for today. And then you have Pith, right? Pith obviously is doing great today. It's almost 6%, but Pith has been retracing big picture for a good while, and it's at the bottom of the range, bear market bottoms type of scenario. So if you haven't gotten into a position into this Oracle, now might be the time to start looking for deploying a bit of capital here. And as we continue, guys, there's a lot of dips throughout the market. Flow, another man of the match, 12% to the upside, but the retracements are real here, as you can see. Grinding down, and of course take full advantage of those dips. They're not double-digit dips, they're small retracements based on 4-hour time frames. And so far, guys, this is so far so good. It's not really bearish, but it's there. It could be considered an opportunity to be scaling in. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at Mintlayer, because what is Mintlayer doing? It's giving us a little bit of an indication that we could get into a long setup based on risk to reward. But we have to keep in mind that right now Bitcoin could be showing us a little bit of weakness. Now on the daily, I'll be honest, everything is still looking okay on the daily. The daily is still looking good, but it's the shorter term time frames, the 4-hour, that kind of bothers me. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now you can see that I really want to focus on price action first. Sorry, not oscillators. Where did my chart go? Basically, what I'm trying to say is ultimately the price action is what can give us an idea of where the trend is going. Obviously, the change of character happened. We made that higher high in comparison to this high. That's a good sign, guys. That's a very bullish sign, right? We came up for a higher high. Now, if we come down and we make a higher low, bullish, super, super bullish. In fact, I would be epically bullish to be getting into positions right around this level. I would be deploying fat capital. But in the short term, we have to be ready for this 4-hour dip. And we are getting a slightly, this slight negativity. Now, these are the levels that I'm most interested. Why? Because we have a bit of a volume gap, previous price action, holding structure. And as I zoom out, you can kind of see that it kind of makes sense, right? We have a bull flag, a massive one right into here. We came down, swept the lows. We come back into the structure. Do we come down and back test the horizontal support to confirm it as support once again, and then get that spring to the upside? Almost like a swing failure, right? Like it came down to lower levels, and it came back in. So this is a good one. Now I would love the back test. Now, of course, the markets don't promise you anything, but that would be the place where I would be preparing to deploy capital. And this is why it's important to have some bit of dry powder. And if you don't have dry powder, it's important for you to start thinking about how you're going to raise capital. Now, 4 hours, the way I'm going to be raising capital. For me, this is an important scenario. Why? Because look, either we're going to short this or we're going to just be prepared to deploy. Now, look at what's happening here on the 4 hour. It's doing exactly the way I expect. So far, nothing has been confirmed because we're respecting the trend. But as we stay here and as we develop this bearish thesis, it could be that we do get that rollover. Remember, this is just the lower time frames. I am not expecting a massive dump, just a short-term retracement right around this level, perhaps maybe about 60,200, and then I want to see if we can hold this low as the absolute low and make a higher low right around here. And the reason why I have this thesis is all about divergence, right? All about divergence, and the fact is that we rallied up significantly. We got two tops, higher highs on the price action, and the reversal here suggesting the bearish divergence. Guys, I want to just show you this divergence because I think it's important that we understand that the oscillator that I have programmed here, is basically multi-momentum. There's multiple indications of divergence. We have the expansions, the green expansions in the background. Look at this expansion in comparison to this expansion. It is weaker. So I see that ultimately as we're pushing up, the bears are not showing as much strength into this impulse. If you look at the momentum, same thing. This momentum oscillator went up overbought, it came down, and it went up for another bounce. It didn't make a higher high. In fact, it made a lower high, while the price action's making that higher high. Bearish divergence. Then we start looking at volatility. We had strong volatility to the upside here. We came down. We went up for another volatile move to the upside, and it basically is a lot lower. So guess what, guys? I'm gonna get rid of all these trend lines. And I'm going to put a big one right up here, and I'm just going to put it right down the middle just to emphasize that there is divergence across this entire, all these momentum oscillators, all this multi-momentum oscillators showing us that we do have class A bearish divergence. Very, very important. Now, based on this 4 hour, just keep in mind that the daily still looked really good. The 4 hour could be getting a bit of a dip. If we get the follow through based on this divergence, I'm not expecting a huge dump. I'm expecting momentum to get oversold, get down to this level, right? The purple line coming down to this level right around here. And this is where I would be deploying capital. Now, in the meantime, based on the 4 hour, you see the volatility, the orange line. What if the orange line pops up and then finally comes back down again? Now, on that dip, we might see a lower low. We might finally see this happen. Okay, and that's what I'm more interested in. Now, at the same time, this purple line, the volatility is going to be pushing up in the next little while. Let's see if we make a lower high or a double top, right? Because if we make a double top, now we're talking about class A and then class B, bearish divergence, and then follow through. And we're slowly going to be looking at this as a rounded top where we're going to start to see a rollover. This is how it begins. So what we're trying to do is stay one step ahead here on lower time frames so we can take full advantage of the strength on the daily, because the daily hasn't really gotten overbought yet. So let's get rid of all this beautiful artwork that I got going on here, and let's quickly get on to back to the daily to make some inferences as to what's happening. Now that we understand what's happening on the 4 hour, we can see that the daily still has a bit more strength because the momentum didn't get overbought. It didn't fly above the 70% mark. Now, it doesn't have to happen. However, it would be nice to happen. It would confirm a nice strong move to the upside. Now, what about if it doesn't? Now, I want to keep in mind that we were talking about a mean reversion play. I just want you to keep an eye on the tops of the purples right here and the bottom of the yellow right around this level. If you look at what's happened here, the purple and the yellow were way far away from each other. And over time, we hesitated a little bit right around this area, allowing for the yellow to catch up. So the mean reversion play actually came into play here, where the purple and the yellow are now back together. Now, sometimes this is all you get. You get a bit of a touch or get close enough, but look what happened here. We get a mean reversion, we get a bit of an expansion away, we come down, and then actually we fall below, and then we could be changing trend, right? What about if that happens? We come down, we come back up, we come back down, come back up, and then kind of come down here, and this is where we start to see the peaks and the valleys in the price action. Well, guys, guess what, guys? I would expect it to get a little bit more overbought. I would expect the price, the momentum to get up to this level and maybe come up for another higher high. That's very possible. But guys, if we get all the confirmations of a reversal here, we got to be very careful, okay? Because we could be even getting bearish divergence even on the daily, but there's nothing yet. In order to get bearish divergence on the daily, we need to have higher highs on the price action and lower highs higher highs on the price action and lower highs on the momentum. And that way we can see a class A bearish divergence where we're seeing something like this. Right now, we're not even getting that. Okay, so we're a bit early on the daily to call it quits on a bullish move, but on the 4 hour, it does look like we could be rolling over here, coming around this level, and then continue to the upside and getting to the top of the range. Because every time we do see the price action hit the momentum hit the chop zone, which is the 50% mark right around here, we do see a hesitation. We do see a hesitation also in the price action. And what happens is that's usually where you get the next move. Like we kind of hesitate right here, and then we go for the next impulsive move to the upside, which would give us the biggest impulsive move to the upside with regards to price action. So it's not bad here for Bitcoin. Playing the short term, the 4 hour time frame with the daily is a great strategy. Just try not to bounce around way too much. Just understand that the daily right now is still looking bullish, but it could be getting a short term retracement based on the volatility. You can see the orange line now facing downwards. What's going to happen with this volatility if it gets oversold? Well, the 4 hour time frame is going to push down, and then we're going to see the daily move up again, and we're going to see the momentum move up again. And guess what's going to happen on the 4 hour? Pure bullish divergence, pure moves to the upside, and this is where we're going to start going long with some conviction, and I'm hoping that we get this opportunity. Now, just keep in mind that I did enter my some positions right around this level. So I'm coming in from a perspective, I already have some skin in the game. Here is to deploy extra, right? I want to deploy bigger bags. Now, if you're on the sidelines waiting for it, guys, just know that if you get right in right now, you're basically buying into a nice impulsive move to the upside. What we want is a three-wave structure to the downside at the current moment. That's what I would be waiting for. That's what I would be comfortable looking for. And in fact, what I would be comfortable looking for is projects that are at the bottom of the range still waiting for a breakout, such as Mintlayer. So guys, let's jump right into Mintlayer. Obviously, we can take a look at trend. Trend oscillator is still looking good here on the daily, but you know what? Right now, volatility and momentum is doing a great job giving us our signals. Let's get right into Mintlayer. Let's see what's going on with Mintlayer. Mintlayer, at the end of the day, has been doing pretty good in the sense that it's been giving us some structure. Now, you guys know that every time I release a video on Mintlayer, I'm talking about let's wait for structure. Let's wait for structure, which is what we're getting right now. And something that we have to really understand is as we go sideways here, as you can see, we're going sideways very nicely and respecting the horizontal. And this horizontal line was in here a good while ago. And the reality is my last entry was right around here. This is the last time I DCA'd another 10 to 20%. I don't remember how much, but I keep my entries very small as we keep on coming down, and I deploy a lot more capital once I start to get confidence in structure. Now, this is the beginning, guys. This is the beginning. This is great. This is a great opportunity. Obviously, you know your risk to reward ratio. In fact, if you are on the sidelines looking to buy into some Mintlayer, this is the time where you can get in from a great risk to reward ratio. Why? Because you have some bottoms to deal with. You have a clear horizontal bottom where you know you can invalidate your bullish thesis. If we break below 12 cents, guys, get out. That's it. Get out. We're falling through the volume gap. We're coming down to lower levels. But reality is that this is the zone where we could be hunting a lot of liquidity. We are getting a lot of volume right into here. Look at this volume node right into this level. And I kind of like what's happening here because of the invalidation, right? We already made a higher high. We're coming down. We came down down a little bit of a dip, and we're making a slightly higher low, but nothing major. Honestly, almost a double bottom or triple bottom here. Nothing totally bullish, but the risk to reward is great. Now, before we get into setups and all of that, just take a look at the volume that's happening here. A lot of volume in this area, meaning market participation. There's a battlefield happening right now between the bears and the bulls, and the bulls were able to make a higher high here. Just keep that in mind. So that's showing a bit of strength, and the bears weren't able to make a lower low. So keep that in mind. Who's showing a bit more strength in this battlefield right now? It seems like the bulls are showing a little bit more strength with lots of volume, which is okay. Now, if you look at the trend oscillator is showing us a little bit of red. And just keep in mind that the 4-hour is still very valid here, even on Mintlayer. I want to see how the 4-hour plays out here, because if the 4-hour continues showing bearishness while the price continues to go sideways, that's a sign of strength here, because we're neutralizing negativity. So at this current moment, I understand that the trend oscillator is not giving you a signal. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars, and the expansion to the downside is definitely there. But if you look at the 4-hour, which we'll do in a second, it might show you a different picture. Now, let's take a look at the volatility, because the volatility is a great indicator. The multi-momentum indicator is looking really good, but the volatility is what's really interesting here, because we're oversold all of a sudden. Look at the purple. I mean, the orange. The orange is very oversold, and the purple's in the chop zone, and we're trekking to the upside, moving to the upside. This is the opportunity, guys, to go long based on momentum, because you're at horizontal support while volatility is oversold, and momentum has gotten its retracement below the moving average. So the moving average is still trending to the upside while the price, while the actual momentum is below it. We need to get above it and continue moving to the upside, especially when the volatility starts to turn to the upside, where we start pushing up again. And then we got to see a green expansion here, because we've been getting red expansions, but we're due for a green expansion any moment to start kicking in and to see a reversal happen here on Mintlayer. So let's quickly get into the 4-hour to see where the real magic is happening, because I know I've been focusing on this 4-hour time frame significantly here, and you can see that we barely got oversold. Volatility bottomed out right into this level. We got a bit of divergence right now as we speak, and we see the volatility now is overbought. Could we get back into a long position once we see the bearish response here on the 4-hour and get into, because it's very likely that we can possibly see a sweep of the lows of these bottoms. And why I like those sweeps of the lows, because it gives us the last capitulation to hunt liquidity without getting wrecked. What I mean by that is this. Let's say that we see volatility come down, one more shot down here, and momentum comes down one more shot. Finally gets really oversold, which is the best place to look for opportunities. And this comes down for one more shot like it did before. Look at this bottom, and comes down for one more, maybe a little bit lower than the rest, and then gets back up, back test, swing failure pattern, boom, straight to the upside. And then we see volatility push up, and then we see momentum finally push up, and everything start pushing up to get overbought. Now, this is why I'm looking at this level, because horizontally we do have a great invalidation where we can put stop losses in with great conviction. Now, let me show you what I mean. Let's back it up here for a second. Let's take a look at the momentum, and then we'll take a look at a setup. You can see that the EMAs are facing up. Green histogram bars, expansions might be coming in. The purple expansions in the background might be coming in any moment now, so it's looking pretty good. But let's take a look at the setup. The setup right now is based on risk management, guys. That's all it is. Now, if we get rid of some of this artwork, you can see that ultimately your setup, let's go on the daily so we can see a big picture, is based on the structure, and the structure is looking good. Now, the issue here is putting too much of a tight stop loss, because I still feel that the 4-hour can sweep the lows. So we got to be careful here. Let's put it there hypothetically, and this is the break of this structure. If we break above this horizontal, we're going to break structure, and if we start breaking above this top, okay, it starts to change character, which is really great. Now, we've seen some projects try to do that already, like a Lithium already ran up to its previous high. Now, that would be awesome. Obviously, we can break above this high, and it's obviously also a break of the previous high, the local high, which is not bad. It's a good sign. But really, the big picture is the previous highs right here. This is what we really want to break above, and then we start to run to the upside. So if we can break this structure and then come up for a test of break of character, that would be that would be really, really bullish. And that's already 120% to the upside. Your risk to reward ratio is 4-to-1, above 4-to-1, almost 4.23 to 1, which is great. Your loss is going to be a 26% loss, but this is what's important, guys, is that your position size has to reflect that ultimately you don't want to lose more than 2% of your trading portfolio. So whatever this 26% equates to, relative to your trading portfolio, it shouldn't be more than 2%. That's the key to short-term trading, is being able to take small losses on your trading portfolio and to remain with enough capital to keep on getting into trades over time. Your portfolio should at least give you enough trading capital to get into 10 trades, because within those 10 trades, you need at least about four winning trades to consider yourself profitable. That's what's necessary, because if you lose 6 and there's small losses, but you win 4 with major gains, guys, your gains will offset your losses and you'll be profitable. So what's very important here is that you keep your risk to reward ratio in mind, and that you take profit, guys, on your short-term spot positions or leverage positions. You need to take profit here. Now, if it's a long-term hold, fine, take it on the chin. If it comes up here, whatever, gets rejected, and it comes down for the lower low, buy the dip, accumulate. Those are all great strategies. But at this current moment, you're looking at a risk to reward ratio where risk can be taken, but it needs to be mitigated by your stop loss. And again, I wouldn't be putting too much of a tight stop loss, because you can put one, let me zoom in here. You could put one right underneath these bottoms. Let me get rid of this. Look at that. You could put one right underneath these wicks, but you never know, you might get wicked out. So I would say right down here is fine. Maybe a 20% loss right around here, and that would be totally fine. Look at your risk to reward ratio, guys. Absolutely great. Now, if you start zooming out, I just want to see big picture. I want you guys to see what's going on with Mintlayer big picture, because obviously if you zoom in, the idea is a little different. Now, if you see what's really happening here, guys, we're testing the bottoms. Now, into this level, we have a bit of liquidity. People that bought in nice and early, these people are either going to be holders or capitulators. If they're going to be weak hands, we're going to continue the sell-off, and this will be considered a bear flag. The bears will come out and say, this is a bear flag for a continuation. Impulsive move, sideways price action, impulsive move. Now, it could happen, guys. It could happen. Again, this is why it's important to put the stop loss to take that small loss. But ultimately, this descending wedge eventually needs to break bullish. And because we broke trend, right, we can see this trend line right into here. This one right here, let me emphasize it, right into here. It basically is, you know, the price action slowly disrespecting it. It's no longer resistance. And you can see we're kind of back testing it, and we're kind of trying to break above it. So this is all very important structural levels to expect a pivot point. We want to get some pivot point price action in here so that we can feel a bit of confidence with the market. So ultimately, divergences are important here. We want to see bullish divergences. We want to see trend oscillators moving to the upside. We want to see a lot happening here. But until then, guys, just understand that you're taking risk, and risk management needs to be placed, and get into small positions. 10%. Once we rally up and we back test, maybe get into another 20-30%. And then we accumulate, we see rounded bottoms, get into another 10 to 20%. And over time, you can build your portfolio or build your position into this level and slowly see this thing rise. Honestly, I think what we're seeing right here is not bad. I am psychologically, mentally preparing myself for a dip, right? For a dip further down if we break this horizontal and look at this volume gap. So let's talk about the bearishness right now, the bearish scenario. Bear flag, break the horizontal, and break structure to the downside and come down to about 7 cents more or less, where we do have the next level of horizontal support to deal with. And until then, guys, I like this horizontal support that we have right now, and we could get a bounce, we could get a reversal. And I'm also keeping my mind open for that, you know, sweep of the lows, that liquidity hunt for a quick dip, and then back into structure and bounce, and then get to the higher levels. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Guys, I'm going to see you tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.